All right. Thanks, guys, for joining. This is our Essential Emotions class. I love this class because I encounter so many people who have so many issues with just balancing their emotions. And this class is designed to help you take control of your emotions instead of your emotions controlling you. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but there are all kinds of reasons why we struggle with our emotions. Things that happen to us in our childhood, things that have happened that were monumental events in our life that can alter our moods and affect our brain chemistry. And all kinds of people are on all kinds of medications to help with their mood. And so we're going to talk about how essential oils can help with controlling your mood. And we're not just going to talk about the ones that I shared with you. We'll also talk about some extra things that we have that can really help with moods that are specific to, let's say, hormones or other issues. So if you are ready, we are going to go and clip along here. So if I can get my screen to advance, it's not working. There we go. So what is this class going to teach you? We're going to talk about some science. We're going to look at the science behind our moods. We're going to talk about tools and practices for living a healthy lifestyle. We're going to talk about maintaining good body chemistry, steps you can take right now, starting tonight, to achieve healthy emotional wellness. And we're going to talk about how to get off the roller coaster and a healthier way to respond to what life throws at you. So many people live in such a way that if the circumstances around them aren't exactly right, it can cause them to be thrown for a loop. And I don't know about you, but I have experienced all of the emotions that this picture depicts all in one day through some of my roughest patches. So I'm sure you can identify with that. So we're going to talk briefly about the fact that the foundation of healthy emotions is a healthy body. And I cannot tell you guys more emphatically that if you aren't already on the lifelong vitality supplements, this is your starting block. A healthy gut and a healthy immune system is going to help your mood tremendously. There are chemicals and natural chemicals and supplements that your body needs to be healthy. And our lifelong vitality, the 3 bottles in the bottom there, excuse me, will cover you from A to Z and make sure that you get not just the vitamins, but the minerals, the essential fatty acids, the cellular renewal system, and it will help improve your memory. That's the starting block. If you're not doing this and you're expecting the oils to help you emotionally, then we've got to take a step back and start with the supplements, and that's what's going to be the starting block, the foundation for healthy emotions. When your body's happy, you will be happy. So when I was in high school, I was involved in theater, and the drama masks only depicted 2 emotions, happy or sad. Because I have a granddaughter, went to see the movie Inside Out, where they depicted 5 emotions: sadness, joy, fear, disgust, and anger. And depending who was sitting in the control seat depended on how people looked at things. And I know this is going to sound silly, but if you haven't seen Inside Out, it's a very thought-provoking movie about our emotions and how, if only one emotion is ever in the driver's seat, how you miss out on the real experiences of life. And it was so funny because the dad had anger always in the chair, and the child had joy always in the chair. And it was really interesting to see the movie play out. But we know that there are even far more emotions than just the 5 listed in that movie. In fact, this is an emotional wheel that shows you different feelings. And within the wheel, there are variations of intensity. So on the outside of the wheel, you see one form of the emotion. And so maybe fear might present itself as timidity in one person, but then in the extreme, it would present itself as sheer terror in another person. Some people might, struggle with anger. On the mild side of that is annoyance, and on the extreme side of that is fury. So it's important for you to learn to identify what you're actually feeling. And I know for my husband, it's much harder for him because every emotion seems to come out in the same way. And he's had to work really hard at identifying the feeling behind the emotion that comes readily to the surface. And guys, there's a reason why we have certain emotions that readily come to the surface. So we're gonna work on learning to identify what we are actually feeling. Sometimes you might be feeling insecure, but that can come out as hostility to somebody. And what it really is insecurity. So it's important to understand what we're feeling if we're going to address ways that we can help change how we feel. What would your life look like if you were generally a happier person, if you were in control of your emotional responses, if you could feel more empowered? What if you could feel more connected to those you love? I think all of us would agree that life would be a whole lot better if these things were true. I love this quote: you change your thoughts and you change your world. The way that we feel often begins as just a thought in our mind. And it's important for us to be able to even identify the thoughts behind the feelings that we're having so that we can sometimes take those thoughts captive and learn how to be a more positive thinking person. And it is something that is possible to do. Now, I love this slide. This slide talks about the fact that we are triune beings, body, mind, and spirit. We understand the need to nourish our bodies, but how much attention do we give to nourishing our mind and our spirit? The three parts of our body communicate on a cellular level. So it's important for us to understand that we do communicate with our spirit communicates with our body, our mind. They're all connected, and there is no way that you can take those and separate them apart. They do communicate on a cellular level, and that's why it's important to not just be healthy in body, but to be healthy in mind and spirit as well. So let's talk a little bit about some science. Let's look at this picture of our brain, and we're going to talk about these three parts of the brain. The new brain is the blue section, and that's the rational part of your brain. The middle brain, which is the yellow part, is the emotional part of your brain. And then the reptilian brain is the instinctual part of your brain. That's what controls your breathing. That's what controls your heartbeat, things that you don't think about that happen in your body instinctually. But we're going to kind of focus in on that middle brain, because that's the part that can form ruts, and that when we have the same emotions over and over again, that they can really impact our health and our well-being. So let's talk about this three parts of us. Our mind deals with logic and intellect. 90% of what happens in our body is controlled by the subconscious mind. There are things that you observe that you aren't even aware that you have observed it. It's part of your subconscious mind. Now, your heart, it's interesting because in our culture, we call it the heart. There are other cultures that talk about the liver. So like we might sing about, come into my heart, Lord Jesus. They might sing, come into my liver. It's a funny concept, but nonetheless, we talk about the heart as the seat of our emotions. That's where our intuition is. Our bodies have more neural pathways This is so fascinating to me. Our bodies have more neural pathways that run from our heart to our brain than from our brain to our heart. That means our heart is telling our brains a lot more than our brain is telling our heart. And then the gut feeling. And women, you all know this. I don't know how well the men feel it, but it's interesting when you have a gut feeling about something, because seldom is that feeling wrong. And it's hard to express why you feel the way you do or to justify that feeling. It's just a gut level feeling that you get. So 90% of the body's serotonin levels involved in managing our mood are found in our gut. And guys, this is also why we need to make sure our gut is healthy too. And the lifelong vitality supplements, the TerraZyme, the PB Assist, all those things will help us have a healthy gut. Now, let's talk about the limbic system, which is the link that we need to talk about with essential oils and emotions. Let's focus a little bit on this limbic system in our brains. The limbic system it's so hard to talk about this without saying, think about your childhood. Do you remember what it smelled like to walk into your grandmother's house on Thanksgiving? So, or some, even Mother's Day or Sunday when she was making Sunday dinner. The limbic system is responsible for our emotional responses, and it's directly linked to smells. And I don't know if you know this, but smell is the first sense that develops for a baby in the womb, which is crazy because they don't need to smell anything right away. But because the limbic system is directly connected to those parts of the brain that control heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, memory, stress levels, and hormone balance, essential oils can have profound physiological and psychological effects. Olfactory responses to odors induce the brain to stimulate the release of hormones and neurochemicals that in turn alter the body's physiology and behavior. And we're going to talk in a little bit about the fact that doTERRA has done these studies with veterans that have post-traumatic stress disorder. And they have found that this emotional aromatherapy kit is the most helpful thing that these vets have tried to help, because these smells are changing the neurochemicals of the brain. And you can see in the picture, for those of you that are really into science, if you have one of those essential oil books, you can look this up. But the olfactory neurons and nerves, they start right above the nose there near the eye, and they go deep into the brain. The hypothalamus is involved, the pineal gland is involved, the hippocampus is involved, and that smell sensory cortex. All of those things, when they smell something, cause a reaction in the brain. So what if we can take that reaction and take it from a negative reaction, like post-traumatic stress disorder, into a positive reaction? So let's go on. 1 drop of essential oils provide the body with 40 million trillion molecules of health and wellness to each cell. Now that's way more than each cell needs, but it's important to understand the power of 1 drop of oil. These oils that we love and use on a daily basis can service every cell in the body within minutes of application and will affect each and every cell in your body. How does that happen? Well, every cell has cell receptors, and emotions are molecules that bind to and react with our cell receptors. Emotions impact the cellular function and behavior, and actually some negative emotions can actually damage some of the cell. So the fastest way to access the benefit of essential oils is to do what I call a nose hit. That's what she's doing, aromatically. The limbic system is accessed with deep cleansing breaths of the oil. If you put it in your hand, if you open the bottle and just smell it, or if you put it in a diffuser at your desk. That's the fastest way to access the benefits of these essential oils, and they can literally change the chemistry in your brain. Topically, we apply to the bottoms of our feet to affect change throughout the whole body. We apply to areas needing extra support. And there are sometimes, guys, where when I can't sleep at night and I need my brain to calm down, I'll actually put a drop of Serenity in the middle of my forehead just to quiet my thoughts and help me drift off to sleep. So that would be an example of applying to areas needing extra support. And then internally, please, please, please remember that if you do not see this supplemental fact on the side of the bottle, that the doTERRA oil in your hand is not ingestible. If you see the supplemental fact, that means it is ingestible. So this is a bottle of lemon, and they have a supplemental fact, tells you there's about 250 drops per container, and that tells you that it is ingestible. So our certified pure therapeutic grade oils labeled with a supplemental fact may be taken internally either under the tongue, in water, or in a capsule. And you guys pretty much all know that. Now let's talk about the personality and characteristics of different plants. When you look at a sunflower, doesn't it just make you feel happy? It almost makes you smile, because that is such a happy looking plant. And that plant does have a personality, and it does have uplifting characteristics. Mint is uplifting, but it's also calming. Citrus is energizing and elevating. Spice is exciting, intriguing, and causes passion. Herbs and grasses are soothing and clarifying. Trees and woods are grounding and balancing. And florals are calming and comforting. We know this, so what can we do if we know the personality of a plant? Well, doTERRA has created mood oils. These are our 4 basic mood oils, the original 4 that took us in like 4 different directions. So Serenity it's kind of color coded. You see the purple behind the bottle of Serenity. That tells you that there's going to be a lot of lavender in that, and a lot of those kinds of calming oils. So Serenity is restful and calming. Elevation is joyful and uplifting. If you're struggling with grief or sorrow, Elevation is a great oil to go to. Or if you know somebody who's grieving or is going through a time of great sorrow, this oil will physically change the chemistry in their bodies and help them feel better. Citrus Bliss is great to counteract depression. It's heavy in citrus oils. It has vanilla absolute flower petals, absolute from the vanilla flowers, and that's also a very uplifting blend. And then Balance, oh my goodness, I could not live without my Balance. It's grounding. It's good for anxious thoughts, anxiety, feeling nervous. It's just good to start your day with some balance. But doTERRA wasn't content to leave it with these 4. They've gone to these 6 because they felt like they could get more specific. So the emotional aromatherapy oils, if you don't already have them in your possession, include Motivate, the encouraging blend, Cheer, the uplifting blend, Passion, the inspiring blend, Forgive, the renewing blend, Console, the comforting blend, and Peace, the reassuring blend. So let's take them one at a time. Motivate is a fantastically encouraging, uplifting oil. That is a blend. I'm not going to read all of this. You can read on the screen there. It's a blend of peppermint, clementine oil, basil, coriander. You see it. And what does Motivate do for us? It promotes confidence, courage, and belief. It counteracts doubt, cynicism, and pessimism. So Motivate might be a good one if you need to counteract some of those negative emotions. Cheer is the uplifting blend. And this one promotes optimism, cheerfulness, and happiness, counteracts negative emotions or feeling blue or low. So the uplifting blend. And you can see the ingredients there at the top. And again, you can see the yellow color kind of indicates what kind of an oil it's going to be. Passion is often misunderstood. I think it doesn't help either that doTERRA so often promotes this in February, so people tend to think it's like gonna increase your libido. Well, yes, it can help with that, but it also brings back your passion for life. It's not just romantic kind of passion. It's passion about getting up every day and doing what you need to do to have the best life you can have. It's a very spicy, warm, rich, soothing kind of a smell, and it ignites feelings of excitement, joy, and passion. So don't just think of this in that one linear fashion. Use it for helping you get started in the morning or helping to create and spark your creativity. This is Forgive. I love this oil because it reminds me a lot of balance. It makes me feel a lot like I feel when I use balance. This has a lot of tree oils. It's got a lot of variety in it, including thyme. And this promotes feelings of contentment, relief, patience. It's going to help counteract those negative emotions. And so often the person we need to forgive most of all is ourselves. So this is a good oil if that's you. Console is the blend that's comforting. It promotes feelings of comfort and hope and counteracts sadness, grief, hopelessness. Sometimes you just need to grab the bottle and use a little Console. Peace. This one is a favorite of a friend of mine in England. It promotes feelings of peace, reassurance, and contentment, counteracts anxious and fearful emotions. And you can see the ingredients there as well. Now let's talk about the importance of lemon oil. Because when the vets did their study, this was an important part of it. When the vets would have something that would cause them to be anxious about something, the lemon oil would break and purify these connections. See, your brain will form ruts. And when you have something that triggers a negative emotion, you can sometimes follow that same pathway over and over and over again. And with lemon, it breaks the thing that connects that response to whatever's happening around you. So in the course of treating emotional distress, we've come to learn that lemon can break that cycle of behavior. So the first thing you would want to do when you're starting to respond negatively to a situation is to grab that lemon and take a nice deep breath of it, okay? And then you can apply the mood oils based on the test that we take. So here's the Daily Drop app. If you don't have this on your phone, I highly recommend that you download the Daily Drop app. And so this particular one was a person who ranked their negative emotions, and what it did was it told the person what to use for whatever it was that they were feeling. You rank from 0 to 5, the negative emotion, let's say overwhelmed. This person was about a 3.5, okay? So you would go on and you would look at it and you would determine, how much do I feel this emotion? Am I feeling overwhelmed? 0 is I'm not feeling overwhelmed. 5 is I could not feel more overwhelmed if I wanted to. And so that's how you would rank it. And at the bottom, it will have you click show results, and now you see that they are recommending for this person, the majority of the oil that they need is cheer. then the second oil is balance, then passion, elevation, and then lesser of the others. I usually do the top 5. The other thing that's really helpful is to download this Daily Drop app, and I'll show you at the end of the video how to get to the Determine Your Mood app, which is on the Daily Drop app, but it's not, somebody should show you how to find it, because you have to swipe to the left to see it on your phone. But I have recommended that people take this every other day for like a week or so that they know which oils they need the most of. And this was created for those vets. So when they would have an episode, the first thing that would happen is doTERRA would give them the lemon oil. They would smell that and breathe that in, which would literally break the connection of the neural pathways. They would then take the test and apply the oils. And when the doctors did scans of their brains before and after the treatment, you see that the ruts that had been developed in their brains were literally rewired, which was amazing to me. So that's how we work this. That's how we do this. And I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here, and I'm gonna stop the recording, and we'll just talk a little bit if you have questions. But anybody that's out there watching this and they have questions, find us at Life to the Fullest on Facebook, and we'll do our best to help answer.